PBS.
We knocked on the door. When they opened the door, they could never imagine at the doorway, Zhou Enlai appeared.
I hid my surprise and said, Premier Zhou, welcome. What can we do for you today? And he said, I'd like to see Secretary Rogers. Is he in? I said, yes. And so I went and knocked on the door, said, Secretary Rogers, Premier Zhou is here. Oh, he said, I'll be right out.
Zhou Enlai said that it's so important. Our two countries have come together, and this is the major thing. And we hope that Mr. Rogers would understand that and would fully give the support.
When Rogers saw Premier Zhou to the door, he was obviously a happier man.
Rogers agreed to support the communique. At the closing banquet, the president was triumphant.
Nixon got up rather tipsy from all the toasts that they were drinking at these banquets, and drinking this fierce liquor called Mao Tai.
He really made a speech on the spot of the moment. That was the most difficult part for the interpreter, of course.
We have been here a week. This was the week that changed the world.
And I thought either he was drunk or it was a bit of hyperbole. But he was right. It was. It had tremendous impact on things. It was a confirmation, in a way, that we were abandoning this whole notion of the monolithic communist bloc.
I express my appreciation to my Chinese voice, to Mrs. Zhang. I listened to her translation. She got every word right.
We felt that he had been overcome by the delirium of the event.
As Nixon said his last goodbyes, public reaction in the U.S. to the Shanghai communique was mixed. One headline read, "They got Taiwan, we got egg rolls."
There was a definite undercurrent on Air Force One as we flew back, where Nixon and Kissinger were worried about the reaction to this communique.
Were so against orthodoxy and, in a sense, so dangerous vis-a-vis the Taiwan lobby or China lobby.
I made it plain to everybody that that American conservatives were going to raise holy hell if indeed this evolved into a dismissal of Taiwan.
But Americans who had shared the president's journey on television supported Nixon's breakthrough. And gradually, the success of Nixon's new course could be seen. In May, the Russians signed the Strategic Arms Limitation Treaty. For the first time, the two nations agreed to limits on nuclear weapons. China secured a place in the world community. By the 1980s, there was a curious new slogan in communist Beijing: "To get rich is glorious." Taiwan would flourish economically and retain its tenuous hold on independence. In February 1972, the New York Times wrote that no matter what else occurred, Richard Nixon would always be remembered for his journey to China. But his achievement would soon be overshadowed. In June, the Watergate burglars were arrested, and the scandal that would bring down the Nixon presidency had begun.